half of the things I couldn't tell you what they were, but White Feather was an example of that.
Right.
I mean, you have so much history with that guy. I mean,
it's weird, and I've said this a number of times, that we're close, but we're not that close.
Julian Lennon's world shattered when he found Yoko Ono in his mother's robe, calmly sipping tea. Born in the shadow of John Lennon, his life became a battle for identity and recognition. From legal fights with Yoko Ono to the pain of being overlooked, Julian's story is both heartbreaking and inspiring. Through ghostly encounters and the White Feather's mystery, he sought meaning in chaos. Tune in as we unveil the shocking truths that will leave you questioning everything about John's behavior. Between a Beatle and the background, Julian Lennon's story is anything but ordinary, a mix of fame, heartbreak, and trying to figure out who he really is. With a dad like John Lennon, the spotlight was never far, but the shadows ran just as deep. From the start, the eldest son's life felt like a tug-of-war, between the love his father sang about and the reality of growing up in the margins of a rock legend's world. Yet beneath the surface of its bittersweet melody lies a revelation so profound it could rewrite everything about the Beatles' frontman. Born in April 1963 in Liverpool, the firstborn son of John Lennon and Cynthia Powell was named as a nod to his grandmother Julia, who had passed away long before he arrived. As exciting as it might sound to be the child of a Beatle, the eldest offspring's childhood wasn't all golden records and fairy tales. While his father was off becoming a music icon, his reality was a lot quieter, often feeling like he was standing in the background of a life he didn't choose. John Lennon and Cynthia met in 1957, back when they were students at Liverpool College of Art. Their relationship had its twists from the start. John's bold personality clashed with Cynthia's more grounded nature, but somehow they clicked. By 1962, Cynthia was pregnant, and they got married. But this wasn't a love story for the ages. It was messy, filled with jealousy, and shaped by the growing chaos of Beatlemania. From the beginning, their marriage was kept under wraps. Managers worried that fans wouldn't take kindly to a married Beatle, so Cynthia became a hidden part of John's life. As the Beatles became global stars, Cynthia found herself stuck in the shadows, playing the role of a quiet, supportive wife. But behind closed doors, things weren't so picture-perfect. John struggled with controlling his emotions, and his jealousy often spilled over into aggression. Cynthia later revealed how John's behavior sometimes left her walking on eggshells. The 1960s brought more challenges. Around 1966, John met Yoko Ono, an avant-garde artist who shook up his world. This relationship would change everything for John and leave a lasting impact on his family. By 1968, things came to a head. While Cynthia was away on vacation, Yoko visited John's home. When Cynthia returned, she found Yoko in her bathrobe, sipping tea like she belonged there. That moment was the nail in the coffin for John and Cynthia's marriage. Shortly after, they divorced, with John providing a financial settlement in custody of his firstborn to Cynthia. As a young boy, the eldest child was caught in the whirlwind of his parents' breakup. The divorce meant he spent most of his childhood with his mom, far from the limelight his father thrived in. While John started a new chapter with Yoko Ono and their son Sean, the older son felt like an outsider in his father's world. The distance wasn't just physical, it was emotional too. Growing up, the musician's son had moments where he tried to connect with his father. During the 1970s, John's girlfriend, May Pang, encouraged him to spend more time with his eldest boy. Those years were some of the few where father and son seemed to get along. John even bought him his first guitar and taught him a few chords. But these moments were fleeting. Once John returned to Yoko, the bond between him and his firstborn became distant again. Stepping out from his father's shadow felt impossible. But Julian's journey to find his voice was just beginning. Music, money, and memory. As he got older, Julian started carving out his own path, but the comparisons to his father were inescapable. In 1984, he released his debut album, Veloute, which was an instant success. Songs like Too Late for Goodbyes showcased his talent, but the shadow of his father's legacy loomed large. Critics couldn't help but compare their voices, their styles, their everything. It was both a blessing and a curse. His music career continued with ups and downs, but he struggled to escape the weight of his last name. The relationship between him and Yoko Ono added another layer of complexity. She was a central figure in his father's life, but for him, she was a reminder of what his family had lost. Over the years, tensions between them simmered, especially when it came to his father's estate. After his father's death in 1980, his will left everything to Yoko, leaving him with nothing directly. This sparked a lengthy legal battle that eventually resulted in a settlement rumored to be around $20 million. For him, it wasn't just about the money, it was about feeling acknowledged. Despite the challenges, he found his own ways to honor his father's memory. He dabbled in photography, philanthropy, and music, carving out a space that felt uniquely his. In 2009, he released Lucy, a tribute to his childhood friend Lucy Vodden, who had inspired the Beatles' Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. Proceeds from the song went to lupus research, showing his commitment to using his platform for good. In 2011, he released the album Everything Changes, which explored themes of self-acceptance and healing. The title itself seemed to reflect his journey of coming to terms with his father's complicated legacy. Over time, he's spoken openly about the pain, the anger, and the eventual forgiveness he's found. His bond with his half-brother Sean has also been a source of peace. While their relationship with their father couldn't have been more different, his love for Sean has helped him move forward. He said that his actions toward Yoko are often guided by his desire not to hurt Sean, showing just how much he values their connection. His career is marked by a commitment to individuality despite living in the shadow of one of music's biggest icons. After his breakthrough in the 1980s with Velotte, he navigated a music industry that constantly compared him to his father. His second album, The Secret Value of Daydreaming, released in 1986, didn't achieve the same success but still showcased his growing artistry. Songs like Stick Around reached #1 on the United States album Rock Tracks chart, solidifying his place as an artist to watch. In 1987, he performed with Chuck Berry and took on a role in the musical The Hunting of the Snark at the Royal Albert Hall in London. These ventures highlighted his willingness to explore different creative avenues beyond traditional music. His collaborations extended to working with George Harrison on the 1991 album Help Yourself, which included the hit single Salt Water. This period saw him embracing a more reflective tone in his music, drawing from personal experiences and global concerns. By the 1990s, his focus shifted toward philanthropy and art. A visit to the indigenous Maori people of New Zealand deeply influenced him, sparking a commitment to causes he felt passionate about. While rumors circulated about possible collaborations with the surviving Beatles, he remained firm in his independence. He chose not to participate in the Beatles anthology series released in 1995, emphasizing his desire to forge his own path. In 1998, he returned to music with the album Photograph Smile, released on his own label. Critics praised it for its thoughtful lyrics and melodic compositions, noting that it stood out as a testament to his growth as an artist. The album included songs like I Don't Want to Know, which showcased his ability to blend heartfelt emotion with polished production. His creative pursuits extended beyond music. In 2002, he recorded a version of When I'm 64 for an insurance commercial, demonstrating his willingness to reinterpret classic songs. 7 years later, he revisited Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds in a new light, releasing the tribute song Lucy in honor of his late friend. The project raised funds for lupus research, further solidifying his dedication to making a positive impact. In 2011, he documented his creative journey in the film Through the Picture Window. The project offered fans a behind-the-scenes look at his process and featured insights from music legends like Steven Tyler and Bono. The documentary also became an interactive app, showcasing his innovative approach to blending art and technology. His relationship with his father remained a central theme in his life. In the mid-1970s, during a brief period of reconnection, they shared moments that left a lasting impact. His father's purchase of a Gibson guitar for him and their time spent playing music together were rare but cherished memories. Despite the emotional distance, these experiences influenced his decision to pursue a career in music. The complexities of his relationship with Yoko Ono stemmed from both personal and financial disputes. After his father's death, Yoko controlled his estate, leaving him feeling excluded. Their legal battle, which lasted 16 years, was about more than money. It represented his struggle for recognition and his desire to preserve his father's legacy in a way that honored his own contributions. His connection with Sean played a significant role in easing tensions with Yoko. He often spoke about his love for Sean and how it influenced his actions. By prioritizing their bond, he found a way to navigate the complexities of his family dynamics while maintaining a sense of peace. Extraordinary encounters left Julian questioning his world and reshaped his understanding of life. Mystical connections and the path of the firstborn Lennon. Julian Lennon shared some strange, spine-tingling moments from his life, or moments that seemed too wild to brush off as pure coincidence. These tales touch on both his connection to his late father, John Lennon, and experiences that push the boundaries of the everyday. He's talked about how life occasionally throws signs his way, moments so oddly specific they grab attention. One of these is tied to a white feather, a symbol that's held deep meaning for him. It's not the kind of thing people expect to find purpose in, but for this artist, it hit hard. He believes it's linked to life's big questions, the ones that make you wonder if there's something bigger out there. And then there was the ghost story. Imagine being in Mexico on a peaceful night by the sea, and suddenly, things take a turn. He described a moment where he saw clear as day figures that appeared to be native individuals dressed in traditional clothing, dancing around a fire. This wasn't a dream or a fleeting thought. He genuinely believed he saw them. The eerie part? The host later told him the property was built on a native burial ground. They even showed him artifacts and a detailed book with images that matched exactly what he'd seen, down to the headdresses and colors. Talk about chills. Experiences like these have made the storyteller think deeply about what's really out there. The whole idea that our senses don't catch everything going on in the world has stuck with him. He's not alone in this. Science even suggests that humans can't perceive everything in existence. This idea of an unseen world fascinates him and adds layers to his encounters. His fascination with the unknown goes beyond the supernatural. He has shared stories about deeply personal moments when he felt signs or messages were being sent his way. The white feather is a prime example. To him, the feather was not just an object, but a profound connection to his father. He explained that his father once told him that if something were ever to happen to him, he would send a sign in the form of a white feather. When a stranger presented him with such a feather, it sent shivers down his spine, making him believe there was something more to life than meets the eye. On another occasion, during a tour in Australia, he encountered an indigenous group who approached him with a heartfelt plea for help. They presented him with a large white feather, asking if he could use his voice to support their cause. This was no random meeting, it felt deeply significant. He later established the White Feather Foundation, using the symbolism of the feather to guide his work in environmental and humanitarian efforts. This foundation became a way for him to honor the legacy of his father while also carving out his unique path. The ghostly encounter in Mexico was not the only time he felt he was in the presence of something otherworldly. He has spoken about moments when he sensed an energy or presence around him, as though unseen forces were trying to communicate. These experiences, combined with his interest in indigenous cultures and their deep respect for the spiritual world, have shaped his perspective on life. His curiosity about what lies beyond our physical senses has become a central theme in his storytelling and creative pursuits. His journey has not been without challenges. Growing up as the son of a global icon like John Lennon came with its own set of difficulties. People often projected their expectations onto him, either wanting him to live up to his father's legacy or dismissing him entirely. He has spoken about feeling as though he was caught in a space where his own identity was overshadowed by the Lennon name. This struggle for self-definition led him to make significant changes in his life. In the year 2020, he took a major step by legally changing his name to Julian Lennon. This decision was about reclaiming his identity and shedding the additional names that tied him to his father's legacy. For him, this was not a rejection of his father, but a way to establish himself as an individual. The decision was accompanied by the release of his album, Jude, a title that carried deep personal significance. The album was named after the song Hey Jude, which Paul McCartney had written for him during his parents' divorce. By choosing this title, he embraced a piece of his history while asserting his own narrative. Creating the album Jude was a labor of love for him. The project spanned decades, with some songs written as far back as 30 years ago. The album blended old and new tracks, reflecting his journey through life. He has described the album as a deeply personal work, one that captures his experiences, struggles, and triumphs. Despite the significance of the album, he faced obstacles when trying to promote it. He was surprised and disappointed to find that some major television shows and media outlets were not interested in featuring him. This rejection felt like another reminder of the challenges he faced as the son of a legend. His frustration with these rejections highlights the complexities of living in the shadow of a famous parent. While some doors opened because of his last name, others remained firmly closed. He has spoken about feeling as though he is constantly trying to prove himself, to show that he is more than just John Lennon's son. This struggle has fueled his determination to create work that stands on its own, whether through music, photography, or philanthropy. Photography became an unexpected passion for him. Unlike music, which often placed him in the public eye, photography allowed him to express himself from behind the camera. This medium offered him a sense of freedom and creativity that felt different from the expectations tied to his music career. His photography has been well received, with exhibitions showcasing his unique perspective on the world. Through his lens, he captures moments that tell stories, much like his music does. His commitment to making a difference in the world is evident in his work with the White Feather Foundation. The foundation's initiatives focus on environmental conservation, clean water projects, and supporting indigenous communities. His encounters with indigenous cultures have had a profound impact on him, deepening his appreciation for their wisdom and connection to the natural world. These experiences have inspired him to use his platform to amplify their voices and address the challenges they face. Will photography surpass music in its ability to move the soul? Share your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow for more thought-provoking content.